On today's show, we're breaking down the top running back prospects according to PFF's big board. Since shout out PFF being one of the few outlets that have a good list of early prospects to break down. Nothing from ESPN at this time. Let's go to the running backs. We did quarterbacks already. In the backfield, Ollie Gordon II out of Oklahoma State leads the way. Don't have any major complaints there. The production speaks for itself. The jump from 2022 to 2023 for the Doak Walker Award winner was pretty damn impressive. He had a fantastic football campaign for Oklahoma State. Really put up impressive production overall. He had some awesome play for Oklahoma State. 1,700 yards is just bonkers. My main question mark there after 21 scores on the ground, I am curious how much top-end speed he has. He's good size. I don't know if he's the same top-end burner, but he is a very, very good athlete. Maybe not an elite-level athlete. Do you want more 2025 NFL draft videos? If you do, type in me in the comments section because I hope that's every single person watching. Now, the running back one battle, I think, will go on throughout the season. Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State, he transferred this year after spending 2 remarkably impressive seasons at Ole Miss, where he had really good production. He has had over 3,000 total yards from scrimmage over the past 2 seasons. He has been highly productive, and now I think is going to be in a fantastic scheme fit for him. Not that he wasn't already. At Ole Miss, or at Ohio State, the size, the speed is all there. I might give the slight edge to Judkins over Ollie Gordon. That's, of course, for now. North Carolina's Omarion Hampton is next up here out of North Carolina. Curious how that offense looks this upcoming season. I suspect they will lean pretty heavily on Hampton. 1,500 yards last year. By the way, I think all 3 of these guys, we could have had arguments of this guy might have been RB1 had they been draft eligible this past season. 6 foot 220, has the size that I like, but I also saw plenty of big plays. In a running back class last year that I liked on kind of that round 3, early day 3 range, I think there's a little bit more top-end ability early on in this year's class. So will a running back go in round 1 in 2025? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. If that ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. I am very glad to see PFF put the Boise State running back at number 4 on their list. That is Ashton Jeanty for the Broncos. Under the radar player, not that many people watching blue turf games these days. Nearly 2,000 total yards from scrimmage last season. 19 touchdowns, by the way. Had 1,347 yards on the ground. 5'9", 210, so short but strong build. Really good leverage. I think he's showcased plenty of big plays as well. I mean, that efficiency is pretty damn good right there. Also offered some pass-catching value. Not a household name, but he might be soon. That's 2 Ohio State running backs in the top 5, and you can argue that 3 is too low for TreVeyon Henderson. He is now going to enter his 4th year, and the question mark is, can he get back to the freshman year version? Freshman year, TreVeyon Henderson with 1,248 yards at 6.8 yards per carry. People were like, this guy's going to be a guaranteed first-round pick. And he got banged up in 2022 and wasn't as efficient in 2023 as the offense overall wasn't as good either. Now he's going to split time with Judkins, forming the best running back duo in college football by a pretty massive margin, and also might bring down both those guys' numbers. In fact, it might have been if there was one of those guys there, he might have pushed for the Heisman Trophy. Only having 2 guys, though, might not be as possible there. Now, if you want this past year's NFL Draft Hat, you can get yours today over at chatsports.com/NFL Draft Hat. I would highly advise you click that link and make sure you look closely at the hats themselves. You can kind of see it on screen, but they're doing kind of like a 3D effect with some differing colors of the team's logos. I think it looks better in person than it does on the video, and will look even better once you click the link there. So check it out today. chatsports.com/NFL draft hats. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's go out west again. Jaydn Ott out of Cal. He has showcased pass catching value in the past. He had 46 catches back in the 2022 campaign. I, for one, find that at least semi-valuable. He's only 6 foot 200, so that's a little bit of a slender build. You look at 200 pounds. Judkins is 5'11", but 210. That's a kind of sizable height mass there, but the speed is there. I'm a sucker for big plays, and I'll probably end up being pretty high on Jaydn Ott. I am very curious how we view Donovan Edwards coming into this season. Edwards, back in 2020, in a committee role with Blake Corum, legitimate arguments that he was a better player than Blake Corum was. He had almost 1,000 yards, 7 yards per carry, and then, frankly, wasn't that good last year. Like, Blake Corum was way better than Edwards was. But now Corum's gone. Edwards is the lead back. There's a new quarterback for Michigan. This current regime, they want to run the football just as much, if not more so. Edwards could have a massive breakout season. Like, even better than it was in 2022. And I liked him a lot. And there were people who liked him more than Corum, and I get that. Didn't go pro, which I'm glad about because it gives me the full eval time. I'll have to be like, oh, but last year. Now it's like, hey, it's either these last 2 years or you got back to form, right? So I'm glad he went back because it just makes it easier on me. It's always the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, right? Who gets picked first? QJ for Quinshon Judkins. DE for Donovan Edwards. TH for TreVeyon Henderson. Go vote in the comments. Got a lot of transfers we'll deal with across college football. That's how it goes in the NIL free agency era. Trevor Etienne. Going, wait a minute. Etienne? I know that name, Etienne. Yeah, it's his brother. It's Travis Etienne's brother. Going to Georgia this year. Spent his first 2 seasons at Florida with sometimes really good, sometimes not so good results. I don't think the step forward happened in 2023. His yards per carry dropped. Make no mistake, there have been moments of brilliance out of it. He also got more involved in the pass game this year, which I really do value. This past year, he ran all over Tennessee. 23 carries, 172 yards, and a score. Also had 11 carries for 29 yards against Kentucky. Did nothing in that game. Had 4 carries for 9 yards against Vanderbilt one year, and they had a committee involved there. So, which version? He had 17 for 129 and a score as a freshman against Florida State. Last year, 10 for 43. Inconsistency is the name of his game right now. Another maybe less known name is Devin Neal, the Kansas running back, who he could have gone pro last year, and he would have been drafted. He had 1,000 yards each of the past 2 seasons. I am curious how he will fare with, I believe there was an offensive coordinator change this past season for Kansas, but I'm curious how that all tends to fit for him moving forward. Now, my Cowboys fans always ask me about Tahj Brooks, which I get. That is how things tend to go here. That is the Texas Tech running back who, for whatever reason, the Big 12 had all of the rushing yards this past season. Just massive production left and right, and Tahj Brooks was part of that. On 290 carries, he had 1,538 yards. He is a big boy. He's 5'10", listed size, of course, so asterisk it if you need to. But he's 5'10", 230. I wonder if he has the top-end juice and speed. He'll also be an older prospect with a lot more mileage on his body. I kind of think he might have been better off turning pro this past year. But hey, gets to go back to college for one more year, and that's always entertaining. We'll have more 2025 NFL draft coverage for you right here on the channel, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Let's go out east now to Rutgers as Kyle, make sure I pronounce his name correctly, hopefully, Monangai, had a massive breakout year this past season for the Scarlet Knights. Major jump in his level of production to over 1,000 yards this past season. Listed at 5'9", 207, powerful, physical runner, which kind of makes sense given how big his neck and shoulders are. Like if I showed you a photo with no stats, you'd go on power runner, right? To Kansas State, number 12, DJ Giddens, 6'1", 200 pounds. I am a little... I'm curious to see if he can add some mass and maintain some speed. He's not built like Deuce Vaughn at all, but I don't know if he's the same top-end burner that some of these other guys are in this year's class. Big jump in production, though. Was kind of stuck behind Deuce Vaughn, who was an elite college football player. Had a fantastic year of his own. Curious how he fares again for Kansas State this upcoming season. Another transfer here on today's list, that is Damien Martinez, who I think also was probably one of the more underrated players in college football last year. Had 1,000 yards on less than 200 carries, transferred to Miami, Florida, where they've also got a bunch of transfers out there. The thing I need to see most here from Martinez, pass catching. You got to help on third downs, especially when you're going to be probably a later pick. With Bucky Irving gone, Jordan James at Oregon gets to take over that kind of lead back role, which I am. That offense is kind of a Mickey Mouse offense, but it's really productive. Small sample size for Jordan James, but he averaged 7 yards a carry. Now, I would wager all of my dollars that the yards per carry is going to dip. But if the overall yardage stays efficient and he gets like 5 yards a carry on doubling the carries, that's still really good, I believe. Now, who do you think is the top running back prospect, or even just a running back prospect that got left out by PFF? Drop that player name for me in the comments section right now. Now, the other top running back prospects not in PFF's list. I would not sleep on Nicholas Singleton. This is a freaky athlete who wasn't as productive last year, but they hired the Kansas offensive coordinator, Andy Klutnick, however you pronounce it, who had great success with Devin Neal. Have a big year. Raheem Sanders was a non-factor in only 2 games last year for Arkansas. Now goes to South Carolina. Jo'quavious Marks has had some success previously. Now over at USC, he transferred. Phil Maffa flashed behind Will Shipley at Clemson. And Roman Hemby had a decent year for Maryland. A lot of good running back prospects here. Some might go back to school. I think it's a quality class as we sit in the early summer scouting version of it.